All right. Yeah. Great early signing day for us. Thought we addressed some key needs at wide receiver, offensive line, uh, defensive line, and DB. I thought those were critical. Able to get 5 players from the state of Virginia, which is important to us. Um, in general, I thought we added some playmaking ability, some much needed size, and excited about the guys we brought in. Very, some guys with some great character, good students, and great football players who've been around some winning programs. So it was it's a good day for us. We're still in the process of building this class. I never intended when I got here that all of our players would be signed on the early signing day. That was never the plan or never the intent. We always were going to have a few scholarships that we were going to be able to utilize later in the process, and that'll again continue this year. So, questions?
Coach, 3 guys from the 757 make you feel good to put an emphasis on your own backyard and have them see what you guys are doing here and want to be a part of it?
Well, obviously, I want to recruit the 757 because there's some good football players here. The coaches do a nice job of developing them. I also want to recruit the entire state of Virginia, and we were able to, like I said, add 5 guys from Virginia, and I think that was a really important part. Excited about what those guys, are going to be in the future, and I think it's going to help us win games and fill up the stadium because we're going to win a lot of games with those guys, but we're also going to fill up the stadium because people relate well to homegrown players. So yeah, I think it's a great deal. We know more about those players than we do anybody else because we're always in those schools, and those coaches trust us and know that we're going to recruit there, so they're going to tell us the truth, and they're going to make sure that we're getting accurate information, and so we can make some good decisions on some kids.
When you're making a late push to get guys to come to Old Dominion, how much does the way your season ended help? Just seeing string the wins together, and hey, you guys can be part of something pretty exciting here.
A lot of these guys we had committed even before that.
Sure.
So a lot of these guys had some faith of what we were building and where this thing can become. It certainly helps keep them there when other schools start to try to snoop around and do some things. But a lot of these guys had been committed to us for a long time. I think ultimately it'll help us in the people that we add from here until really the beginning of fall camp. Because that roster building process will go all the way to the beginning of fall camp. So I think it can help us there, and it can help us in the 2023 class. But these guys, that's why I have a lot of respect for the guys on this list because there was a lot of faith from these guys.
How many more do you plan to bring in?
It's going to depend on a few different factors. Obviously, we'll have. I'm not naive enough to think that we won't have some roster attrition of our own. So it'll depend on that a little bit. I would say we'll still probably bring in anywhere between 10 and 12 guys, and that's about normal for what I would want to do is about 50% on the early signing day and 50% after.
Many of those be transfers, you think?
We will include transfers just like we did last year. We're always going to recruit high school football players. I think that we have a staff that develops players very, very well, and for us not to take high school players would be doing disservice to us because we can really identify those players and develop them and build the culture up that way. But we will still take transfers. So I don't want to put a number on how many we're going to take and all those sort of things, but we will still take some.
I don't think I've seen one of these lists that didn't have athlete on there somewhere. Is that intentional? Do you want guys to know what they're going to do when they get here?
I mean, this is how we recruited them. I mean, we don't recruit them as athlete. You know what I mean? We recruited them as at certain positions. I mean, obviously, you look at a guy like Mario Easterly, who primarily played wide receiver for his team this year, but is going to play safety for us. Normally, I think a lot of people would list him as athlete, but he knows what he's going to play here, and that's what he wanted to play and what he signed up for. So, we're pretty excited about adding his ball skills and playmaking ability to our secondary.
Ricky, you've made a concerted effort to improve recruiting in the DMV. Has Taylor Rahne helped you any sort of his, the cult of Taylor and all that up in that area?
Obviously, we want to continue to do a better job up there. I mean, we added a Maryland player here, and I want to, I'm really looking forward to continue to add players from Northern Virginia. We have a few DC players on our team right now. Yeah, it's certainly going to help. I mean, it's a lot more relevant up there than maybe it was in the past. I think as a program and really as a university, we need to do a better job in that area. We have a lot of alumni up there, and we need to make sure we engage them and make them feel part of it, and instead of just our local alumni. We need to include the entire state of Virginia, of which we have quite a few alumni. So we need to make sure that we're recruiting up there. We have got some great players on our team from Northern Virginia right now, especially in the last couple classes. So I'm anticipating that we'll continue to add people from there. But obviously, Taylor's playmaking ability and ability to win games for the Washington football team, it can't hurt. I know that. It can't hurt.
Was Easterly on your radar before you got here?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I knew about him. I didn't recruit that area per se, but we knew about him. I mean, he's been a good player. I think obviously we've done a nice job in Pennsylvania over the last couple of years, and we're going to continue to do so. We just those kids like come down south and playing, and so we can always get one or two of those guys that can be a huge help for us. Obviously Jason Henderson was a big time player for us this year out of there, and so we can continue to grab guys from there that to supplement our direct local footprint right here. But we consider that part of our footprint, especially that eastern part of the state.
I have an unrelated question.
Yeah.
Your 3 super seniors, you talked about them a bunch this year. They were on the 2016 team. They've seen what that looks like. How much of an influence have they been on your younger guys?
Yeah, it's a little different for them because a lot of those guys, they necessarily weren't playing in that game.
They're all redshirting.
Yeah, they're all redshirting. So I don't think one thing they have influenced is the fact that they've been really harping on our guys to take it all in, that maybe they missed it and maybe they took it for granted that they were just going to go to bowls every year and that's how it was going to be. So that was, I think, the number one thing is to appreciate what we've accomplished, know that we want to accomplish more, and we have a lot more to accomplish, but to appreciate what we're doing and to take it all in. And, these are experiences that you're not guaranteed, and I think those 3 guys have definitely made that a point.
Anything else?
I have one more.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Who's going to call the offensive plays in the bowl game?
Kevin Rayner.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else you can say about the coordinator leaving? Was it performance related?
Oh, I just, when I decided to make that change, I mean, it wasn't an easy decision for me. Coach Campbell's a great person, and that wasn't an easy thing for me to do. I just felt like in order for our program to maximize our potential and that it needed to happen. So those things it's my job to make tough decisions that are going to help with the direction of the program, and that's what I felt like the direction we needed to go.
Was there any consideration to waiting until after the bowl game to do that?
No. I didn't think it was fair. If I had already made that decision, I didn't think it was fair to Coach Campbell, and I didn't think it was fair to this signing class for them to think one thing was happening and something else happened, and I know it the entire time. So Whether that was a smart decision or not, it was, in my mind, the ethical one, and so that's what I'm going to do every time.
But I think ethical kind of implies that it was not performance related.
No. I mean, it was the ethical one to make the decision to make that when I knew.
At that time.
No.
Okay.
That is not. There was nothing like that. Nothing off the field or anything like that.
Okay.
So, sorry if that was misinterpreted. I apologize.
Any other questions for Coach?
Anything else?
Harry, you in?
If I could ask a player question.
Yeah.
Alonzo Ford, started every game this year and seems durable for a freshman. Talk about his development this year just a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Alonzo played very well. I don't really understand the what the qualifications are for the all-freshman team if he's not on it. I don't know how you start every single game and you're not on the all-freshman team that in the conference. That is insane to me, especially as well as he played on a run defense that played as well as he played, and him being in a position that's job is primarily to stop the run. None of that makes any sense to me, but obviously I didn't do a good enough job of saying how well he was playing throughout the year. I thought he played really well. He's still got a lot of room to grow. He knows that, but he had a terrific off season, and particularly his summer that led to a great camp that allowed him to play very, very well. And he bought into the techniques and fundamentals that Coach Vic is teaching, and he knew the scheme cold, and that allowed him to really play fast and aggressive and use his size and athletic ability to really disrupt the middle of the field when teams are trying to run the ball against us.
Any new injuries worth noting?
No, we're pretty healthy. Considering at this time of year, obviously, we have our injuries that, guys are battling, but, there's nothing of note. I mean, it's just guys are, they found a way, and I think it's a credit to Justin Walker and it's a credit to Coach Galt that our guys are as healthy as they are. But it's also credit to the players because they really have bought into taking care of their bodies and doing the things that are necessary to perform at a high level for a number of weeks now.
Coach, you have time for one more?
Yeah, I got nothing but time.
All right. So back to the signing day. With the climate changing around college athletics, there are different theories on how the NIL stuff can impact or will it not impact or whatever the case may be. Do you feel like there's more pressure on coaches to sell their programs now, or do you feel like, hey, everyone's going to end up where they need to be regardless, and you don't see the signing day changing that much?
I think there's a few things that we're going to have to do differently, but that's been ever since we've added the early signing day, and then before that it was ever since freshmen could play, and before that it was there's always things changing, and as coaches we need to stop whining about it. My God, a lot of coaches made decisions to change schools this year for a variety of reasons, and then we're gonna harp on the kids that they made these just terrible choices that are ruining the game. That seems hypocritical at best. We all need to adjust, and are there going to be adjustments from? It's going to be ever changing, and that's what makes our job fun is the adjustments. You're changing all the time, and you've got to change on the fly. And some of us are going to make great adjustments, and some of us are going to make poor adjustments, and then we're going to be held accountable for those adjustments. It's as much as things change, things stay the same, and I always get very frustrated when people say that the kids have changed. Kids are the same. Adults have changed, and the adults, that is the major issue. And adults need to act like adults, guide these young men through their, decision-making process and through college in order to help them best achieve their goals, and we'll all be fine. The one I have one issue with this whole thing is we just need to guide the young men on their best way to get their degrees. You know what I mean? I mean, when you transfer, inevitably, you are going to lose some credits. And in order to, make sure that kids are getting their degrees, these guys need to be educated on that. They also need to be educated on when the dead periods are, so they know if they can take visits and doing all those sort of things. I think we need to not shy away from those things. If a kid asks you those questions, you better be willing to answer them and be honest with them, because the best way to maintain, the players on your team is to be honest with them, treat them, fairly, and develop them. And if after doing those three things they decide that there's some other place that they need to go in order to achieve the goals that they think are important, then they move on. I mean, we all do that. Every single person who writes about the negatives of the transfer portal, who writes about how awful college football is nowadays, every single one of those persons has changed their job at some point. And I just don't understand why they don't see that. But maybe they will. Anything else?
Anything else?
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach, appreciate it.
Yep.